Hello everybody, back once again with another video. This one's a ranking of David Lynch's films. Sure most people have heard of David Lynch, even if you're not into his films. So a surrealist. Basically, over time, people coin the term Lynchian. So if a film had sort of certain surreal aspects and things, from other directors, then people would sort of say, very Lynchian. Yes, I think I said in the last couple of rankings I did. What's the last one? Michael Haneke. Maybe the film I did before, but I was going to do a ranking of David Lynch and Lars von Trier. So I'll do a David Lynch one first. Quite hard one to rank because some of his let's say conventional films. We'll see when we get to it. I'll talk about it in more depth. Is kind of a better made film, but what I like from David Lynch is really surreal, kind of more creepy, alienating, sort of disturbing stuff. A bit more of a mystery to get your head around kind of what the film meant. There's one called The Straight Story. I think it's about a guy that like rides around in a tractor. Obviously, there's a bit more to it than that. It looks quite conventional for a David Lynch film, or at least when I seen the DVD in HMV or FOP years ago, it kind of by the cover and the red sort of case of the DVD, it looks kind of not as dark as some of his stuff. But yeah, anyway, that's a little preview. So let's get on with actually showing the films. Can I do this so you don't see it? If I do it like that, then you won't be able to see what the next one is and spoil it. But yeah, the short films of David Lynch, I think, is my least favourite. See if I can zoom in and see this. You've got Six Men Getting Sick. It's only 1 minute. The Alphabet, which is 4 minutes. The Grandmother, which is 34 minutes. The Amputee, which is 2 minutes. The Cowboy and the Frenchman is 26 minutes. And Lumiere is 55 seconds. So really short films. I mean, Grandmother the longest? Let me double check. Yeah, 34 minute. Grandmother the best one on here. This was the first things he did. So like a precursor to all the later films. You could tell by the style of the Grandmother, it's a bit kind of more like Eraserhead, sort of creepy and surreal and subtle. But I mean, this one, Six Men Getting Sick, is just the projection on a sculptured screen. So it's a bit more of an art piece than a straight up film. Lumiere, it's only 55 seconds, but it's using the original Lumiere Brothers camera. So I guess that's why he sort of made that way. I think some of these, say the amputee in that, he's not really made it so much to portray a story. I think it's more to like practice his filming techniques or like experimental filming techniques. So I guess if you were a director and you got some like new stock, some new film role, then maybe to see how well it films and how to light it and whether what the shadowing and things are like, then maybe you'd sort of try. Yeah, I mean they're interesting film, but they're not that entertaining. And yeah, the Grandmother is the sort of creepiest. Um, I can't remember a few of the others too well, to tell you the truth. Can't remember the Cowboy and the Frenchman, but the amputee is literally someone amputated legs. I think they've got. A nurse is like taking off the bandages and washing their limbs, and that's all there is to it. So, yeah, I think it's more of a sort of experiment on how to film rather than the content of the film, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I got this one years ago. Don't see it anymore. Probably quite hard to get. I'm guessing it's out of print or something. Quite a creepy sort of cover. Then next you've got, let me get in focus a bit better. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I think Sammy G said this was like his least favourite. We weren't too fond of this, but yeah, compared to the actual Twin Peaks series, as we'll get to later, it's not on a level with that. It's got kind of a creepy bit. It's got some pretty good dialogue. I know there is a sample in here that I think I spoke to about it before, but some of the sort of underground American hip hop I listen to. I think it's called Army of the Pharaohs. I've got a sample out of Fire Walk with Me in one of their tracks, so they're obviously into that film. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad film. It's not boring as such, but yeah, if I'm ranking these, it's one of my least favourite David Lynch ones, really. And yeah, not I wouldn't say I think it's the prequel to the No, it's yeah. Obviously, it's not really a spoiler, but something happens in Twin Peaks to I think she's called Laura in this, and this is kind of about her story. Come on, I might need to view it again, but like I always say, I've got so many films on the back burner and films that I'm buying, and ones, I've got hundreds to watch, so ones that I didn't enjoy aren't really, what's the word, priority for me to watch. I've got Lost Highway. I haven't even watched this one once. I don't think I could really get into it too well. I mean, it was an interesting film, but quite sort of confusing, really. Let me see if this is the one I'm thinking. Powerful, sensual. Yeah, I think it's where it's like one person, but he's got like two narratives. I do sometimes get this a bit muddled up with the next one coming, or the next one I do prefer, and I know the actor's better, but yeah, Lost Highway. I think it's quite sort of what's the word? Not like a conventional timeline, would you call it? Um, yeah, again, I wouldn't mind reviewing this one, but or giving it another view, should I say? But yeah, like I said, it's just hard to get the time to watch all of these. So many films I want to give another view to that I did like, or think on a second viewing it would be better. That these are kind of on the bottom of the list, but I did this ranking anyway because I know them enough to know which ones I kind of put in what order without seeing them like 20 times. But yeah, so next, Wild at Heart. Is that a little scratch on it or just a mark? So it's the collector's edition. Oh, it's got some extra special features. I don't really know the difference too much, but Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern. So I'm a bit more. I know I did watch it. I haven't watched this for about 12 years, but Nicolas Cage has got a really charismatic kind of role as you'd expect from him. Yeah, really bizarre again. Quite a colourful film for David Lynch. Some of these ones you see later are a bit more bleak, I would say. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I think there's a bit near the start where he like beats up some guy in like a hotel kind of hallway or something. It's quite bizarre, but yeah, I mean that's one of the words you'd use in it to describe Lynch as bizarre. Next one, I'll keep going so I don't make this too long. Try and top it out 15 minutes max once I ramble on. Inland Empire, really weird one. I don't think it shows it on the back, but it's got the kind of mean face. I watched this film years ago, and then when you keep seeing this internet sort of mean face of this cartoony, rubbery, sort of smiley Laura Dern, I kind of forgot it was out of this film. This lady here, you can see her. It's, I think, the sort of best character in this. So, me and my mate watched this years ago, and there's basically a bit where she starts questioning, I think it's Laura Dern's character, um, about a murder that happened in the house, and then out of nowhere she just sort of shouts like brutal fucking murder, and it's like a really good soundbite. So my mate recorded a little sound clip and used to have it as his like ringtone. But yeah, the way I won't try and impersonate her, but the way she says it is kind of really iconic. And then cuts to all these scenes with this like sort of rabbit family, like people dressed up in like rabbit costumes, and they're living in like a creepy, weird kind of little house. Yeah, it sort of seems quite disparate from the rest of the plot, but I think it does have some kind of iconography or sort of metaphoric meaning. But yeah, I do quite enjoyed this one when I watched it. It was kind of quite disturbing and alienating, like, weird again. But yeah, I think this one of his more recent ones out of these. To be fair, not sure if he's had a film. I mean, oh, actually, yeah. Oh, I didn't really forget one. Let me grab it a sec. I would probably rank it about medium, so let's put it next. But yeah, so off with Inland Empire and on with Dune. Yeah, obviously this is an Arrow one. I was just about to speak about saying how it's weird that Arrow, Second Sight, have never really released any David Lynch films. They're more through Criterion. I can't imagine it's that they don't want to release his films, so maybe he's, Arrow's a bit more of a cult kind of boutique label. Maybe he prefers releasing on Criterion, which have got a bit more film history, releasing sort of older films and more classics and things maybe than Arrow. But yeah, I haven't seen this one again. I've heard the remake with Timothy Chow, what's he called? Chow. Oh, I can't think of his name. Chow Font. He's Dune Part 1 and 2 is meant to be better than this, but yeah, when I was younger, me and my mate watched this, and the bit where they talk about the spice of life, it's in like, I think is it the Orb, or Orbital, like an old dance track, so we used to be memorable for that, but yeah, it's quite a kind of David Lynchian film. A lot of people kind of hate this quite a bit, but I remember enjoying this, but yeah, I haven't seen it for a long time. maybe would have ranked it a bit lower than Inland. I can remember it more than Wild at Heart and Lost Highway, but yeah, I probably would have had it beneath Inland Empire. But yeah, as I was doing this, I just literally looked to the right where these arrows are and remembered. I nearly forgot Dune. So yeah, that was lucky I remembered it because I won't want to have to re-record this whole video. But yeah, that's nearly slowed me down. This one, I think, conventionally is his, sounds weird, conventionally it's his most conventional film, maybe. Remember watching this as a kid. Well, I may say kid when I was like 11, and I'd already heard of the story of like the Elephant Man, and yeah, I don't know if they call him John. I think his name was Joseph Merrick, but a lot of sort of adaptations and that call him John Merrick. But it's in black and white and it's quite bleak. Sir Anthony Hopkins, John Hurt, John Gielgud, I take it you say it, and Anne Bancroft. But yeah, really well made film. It is quite sort of creepy for a PG. But yeah, I'd say this is probably Lynch's most conventional film. Really, it's not, got weird twists and bits you don't understand. It is just the story of a kind of biopic. In terms of actual filmmaking, this probably would be top. For how well it's executed, and if I was to say to somebody wanted to watch a David Lynch film that wasn't really into sort of art house and weird, challenging, surreal kind of films, then I'd say watch this first to sort of get into his style. So yeah, probably the most sort of, would you say, easy watchable kind of movie. But yeah, in terms of actual execution and plot and things, it's maybe the best one, but just not my favourite. Like I said earlier, for me, my favourite sort of peak Lynch, no pun intended, is when he's sort of making real surreal, sort of creepy stuff where you can think about it after. So yeah, we've got the Twin Peaks box set. I mean, this is a bit harder to rank because it is a series, a show, whereas the others are all films. I do really like it, especially the little intro music by Angelo Badalamenti. Is that how you pronounce it? But yeah, this is like the big definitive gold box edition. So I think I seen some episodes of this when I was a kid back on TV when it was on, when I was in secondary school, but I didn't really get it back then. I just thought it was kind of a bit surreal and creepy, but unlike, say, the X-Files that was on around the same time, it just never went full on sort of creepy. It kind of stayed as a bit like, I'd say with this, it's sort of surreal, but it's more something's out of place in the way it's made, but you can't put your finger on it. And then you've got like the log woman, is she called? That sort of, yeah, I'd say it's more surreal and bizarre than sort of dark and disturbing, really. But yeah, I'm sure most people have heard of Twin Peaks. Do enjoy this, but I think Fire Walk with Me, I don't say lets this down, but this is strong all the way through. And then yeah, Fire Walk with Me is meant to be, a bit more about the character that you're finding out in this, of sort of what happened to I think she's called Laura. Let's see if it tells you on the back. Yeah, Laura Palmer. So yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say Fire Walk with Me kind of messes or shits on the kind of canon of this, but yeah, maybe it sort of takes the edge off it a little bit. But yeah, I do enjoy it, but I prefer his movies, really. So I've next got Blue Velvet. I spoke about this one before in like my films with colours in their title. Dennis Hopper really good and creepy in this. As soon as it starts, it's a spoiler, but there's a human ear like on the floor in the bush. You know it's going to be bizarre. Really like the sort of way it's filmed. I mean, it is surreal, but it does sort of follow a kind of more conventional narrative, just with bizarre characters and things, I would say. Does it show him on the back? Yeah, so he's got like a sort of gas mask thing on that he's breathing through, Dennis Hopper. I can't remember. I know it had Jack Nance, which out of Eraserhead. We know Dean Stockwell. Isabel Rossellini, I think she's been in some more. But yeah, Brad Dourif, I couldn't remember being in this, to be fair. Maybe he's got like a smaller part. I'll have to watch it again. But yeah, sure, most people know Blue Velvet. One of his best made films, as well as one of my favourites. That's why I've got it up by the top. But quite surreal, although this, Mulholland Drive, it's even more surreal. So yeah, I do have all these on DVD. Oh, one actually, we'll see in a minute. I do have on Blu-ray, but yeah, I bought all these years ago when they probably were only really out on DVD. Didn't really come across Mulholland Drive quite a lot. Though it'd be a better picture on Blu-ray because I've got this nice special edition. I think this is quite hard. See if I can open it with one hand. Quite hard to get hold of nowadays. I think it's probably out of print. and checked on like CEX, but I guess it's worth a bit of money. So when I did see the Blu-ray, it was quite like a standard edition, really, or maybe even the 4K. So I think this kind of Momentum Pictures release has a bit of a nicer box, even if maybe the picture ain't quite as good. But yeah, this is like, I think my mate maybe had a different version. He was the one that told me about it years ago before I really knew who Lynch was too much. Obviously, I'd seen The Elephant Man. Don't think when I was younger I even really realised The Elephant Man or Dune was by David Lynch. Kind of heard of him as a director, but it wasn't until you see some of his other films that they are kind of outliers to his style, really. But my mate's version had in the booklet sort of clues to understanding the film. So it says if you look at, I think the clock on the mantelpiece at a certain time is a clue, and there was like 10 or 15 clues. So some people would argue David Lynch just makes surreal films that don't kind of make sense. Even to him, they're just meant to be bizarre and surreal, but kind of proves that there is a bit more to it and there is some metaphor and things, iconography to the way he's made it. So even if we don't get it, I don't think it's just a cop out where he's, just thrown a load of random dream imagery together and then pretends there's clues. Obviously, there is sort of a deeper meaning. He doesn't really ever let anybody know what the meaning is mostly to this film. That's why it's one of my favourites. Really like this character of this kind of creepy guy. Kind of is hard to follow. I mean, you can follow the narrative, what's going on, but you never really know what the undertones and what it all means, really. I guess it's a bit open to interpretation, but yeah, really good music. I think it's by Angelo Badalamenti again. Really good acting by Laura Dern, but what's the name of the other? No, Naomi Watts. I forgot it was her. Rita, sorry, is Laura Alina Haring. And then it's obviously got Justin Theroux, it's been in a few of his one. But yeah, this might have spoiled what the top one is, but I'm sure if you know my taste in films, and I've already mentioned it in previous films, you know what the next one coming up is. And obviously, if you know David Lynch's films, you probably know I haven't showed this one yet. So on to the next one. Yeah, I think I've watched Mulholland Drive quite a few times, and you do get a bit more out of it. But yeah, this is my favourite. I can see why people wouldn't like this one too much. And in terms of an actual, like I've said before, how well made the film is, I'd say Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, and especially Elephant Man are probably better films for a more, what's the word? I would say like generic audience, but if you're the kind of person that watches Hollywood films and you were forced to watch a David Lynch film, I think maybe you could enjoy those. Whereas I think a lot of people will be alienated by this. It is slow. It's like a slow burner. It's all in black and white. It's not got much sort of dialogue. It's very bleak. But that's what I like about it. So yeah, I remember the first time I watched this, I watched it real late at night. I think I'd been ill or something in the day and slept. And then when I woke up about 2 o'clock, it was like cold in the winter, and it just really set the scene. And the surreal imagery, when I felt a bit sort of ill, kind of feverish, really sort of added to it. And I watched it again, and it has been good. But the first viewing I watched it just had more of like really kind of mysterious sort of what's the word? Obviously it is surreal and that, but I think it's a bit of a metaphor where basically at the time he was scared of having a baby. So there's like a sort of creature he's scared of, and then he's living in a bleak industrial world. And um, I think Sammy G or someone said he's not a massive fan of it in terms of it is sort of slow and that, but that is kind of what I like about it. But yeah, like I say, it's sort of the archetypal David Lynch film, but yeah, I can see why people that enjoy like Hollywood action films or their favourite film is like Shawshank Redemption might think this is a bit sort of vacuous and it just doesn't really conform to like. But yeah, so basically I've got this Criterion Blu-ray version. I've showed this before, has like a book in it, and then this is the older DVD that I've had. I think this is probably out of print and quite hard to come across. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't say this is his best film. This is just my favourite from what I want out of Lynch. Whereas if you're the kind of person that isn't too into surreal films, you might sort of get on better with Elephant Man, or The Elephant Man, should I say, rather than something like this. But yeah, for me, this raise ahead. A few films by Alejandro Jodorowsky. Is it called Eyes Without a Face? There's a few directors that are known for sort of making surreal. I think those are the top of the pile in kind of weird surreal films. But yeah, I thought it'd go on for 15 minutes. I rambled on longer than expected, as I always do. But yeah, let me know if you've got any thoughts on these, or what would be your favourites, and if there's any other than a straight story that I'm missing. I can't think of any off the top of my head that I haven't seen by him. Then yeah, let me know in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye.